looking at the Ubuntu Studio 23.10 Mantic monitor. So let's quickly boot it in a live boot. So I'm running it on as a virtualization, which is a VMware with 60 GB of hard disk. I have i5 1240p CPU and I'm using a 4 GB of RAM for the virtualization or a VMware. So here is the welcome screen of the Ubuntu Studio. You get the same options as in the previous version, like try Ubuntu Studio and the installation of Ubuntu Studio. So this is the option which is to do with the live boot. This is a live boot option and you can directly install it in this option. So in my opinion or my advice is always go with the live boot first. After you're satisfied, you can go with the installation later. There is already a installer or the installation app in the live boot also. You don't need to worry of the whether I can't install in a live boot. You can do that in the live boot also. So first you need to choose your language here. There are plenty of languages available. So it took almost like a 3 to 4 minutes to load up to the welcome screen from the startup. So that is in my PC, so it should be more or less in your PC. It took like a 3 to 4 minutes in my PC. It should be more or less in your PC. So let's try to live boot first. So this is a good option to go with the first live boot, even it's a stable ISO file. So if you encounter any bugs or any errors or any crashes, so you can just remove the ISO file. So that's the reason I will say always go with the live boot first. So it will take like a few seconds to boot it in a live boot. So as you can see, mouse pointer is already here. So let's wait for a few more seconds and we should be seeing the desktop layout loaded. So here is the desktop layout completely loaded. So the default desktop environment you get in the Ubuntu Studio is the KDE Plasma. So let's first open the system monitor before doing the display settings. So we can see or we can know the exact system resources which consumes in this Linux distro. So it takes a few seconds because most of things should be loaded. So I'm using a 4 GB of RAM for my VMware, I already mentioned. So it's almost a 1.8 GB of RAM is consuming right now. So CPU is not on the stable side because it's still we started right now, so that's the reason there is no stable graph. We should run like a 60 seconds or a minute to get all the stable graph. So these are all the information. Let's go to the applications. So right now these are all the applications running. So here is the history. Let me make it bigger so you can get exact numbers. So CPU, as you can see, already mentioned, this will be common in when you open the system monitor in the beginning of the video. This will be a high graph in every Linux distro, so you need to ignore this part and we need to run the RAM or the CPU part to until 60 seconds so we can get a stable graph. As you can see, it's almost pretty stable. So this is the 60 seconds line or a minute line. You can run it till here to get the stable graph. So it's almost pretty stable. So the RAM is 1.8 GB. So let's go to the process right now. So CPU is around or below 25%. So these are all the process running right now in the beginning of the video. Or when we started the Linux distro, these are all the process running. I didn't open any of the apps, not even the display settings. So that's the reason I didn't change even the display setting. So this is the CPU and this is the RAM. So let's put the system monitor throughout the video in the right side corner so you can see all the changes, high and low in the CPU and RAM. You can see throughout the video. So let's put it in the right side corner. So I will be placing the system monitor in the right side corner so you don't miss anything. So let's change the display setting. So my monitor is 1920 into 1080. So let me change that to 1920 into 1080 with a 16:9 ratio with a 60 Hz. Let's click on apply, keep it. let's check about the system or about the distro. Here it is, Ubuntu Studio 23.10. The code name for 23.10 is Mantic Miniature, you already know. And the KDE Plasma version you are getting is 5.27.8. I guess this is the latest version. So frameworks you are getting 5.110.0. Qt version is a 5.15.0 and the kernel version is 6.5.0-9. Low latency 64-bit and graphics platform X11, and this is the kernel which will get in all the Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. This is the default kernel version you are getting in all the Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. So let's close this thing and let's open the internet browser, which is a Firefox web browser. The version should be 118.0.2 or 0.1 like that. So that is the version which is already available in every Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors. So I already made another video today, which is Ubuntu Kalen, because I'll be posting 2 videos daily. So I made all the Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavors videos. I just left with the Ubuntu Studio, which is right now, and the Ubuntu Kalen is already made. So we are covered every Ubuntu and Ubuntu flavor. So if you want to check all the videos which are already available in my channel, go check it out. So let's first check the version. So already mentioned the version is 118.0.1. So let's type in about and support. To get some of the information. So if you don't find this information as important, you can just skip this part. So let me scroll it down. If you want to see all the information or read every information, you can just pause the video or you can slow down the playback speed in the YouTube settings. The default playback speed is 1.0 and you need to change it to 0.25 to read everything properly. It will be a slow-mo video, so you can just read everything in a slow-mo by changing to 0.25. So this is all the information. So let's go to their official website. So let's type in Ubuntu Studio. Hit enter. This is the search term you need to type in, which is Ubuntu Studio. The first link is their website, which is ubuntustudio.org, or you can directly type in like ubuntustudio.org, which will take directly to their official website. So here is the version Ubuntu 23.10 Ubuntu Studio. So it is supported until July 2024 or mid 2024. So you need to be using this Linux distro or not, it's clearly up to you. You can go with the LTS, which is supported until April 2025, which is almost like a 2 years. So this is just a 9 months. So it's clearly up to you to judge whether to use this Linux distro or this one. It's clearly up to you. I'm not going to recommend anything here, because if you ask me, LTS will be a better option if you don't want to change every time. So it's clearly up to you. It's my opinion or my perspective, so it's clearly up to you to use it or not. So let's read first the release notes of the Ubuntu Studio 23.10 Mantic Miniature. So this is for a pre-release version of Ubuntu Studio. The contents of these notes are subject to change. No support is provided. Use it at your own risk. Even the official website says use it on your own risk. So it's clearly up to you to use it or not. So you can download from here. Changes for this release compared to 23.04. You get the PipeWire version like this, which is 0.3.79, Carla upgraded to 2.5.7, plugins 1.2.11, Audacity 3.333 or 3.3.3, Ardour 7.5.0, Patchance upgrade to 1.0. So these are all the changes. You can just pause the video, read everything. So I'm going to open some of the apps here for testing at the end of the video, so you can see the versions in the end of the video. So these are all the release notes. Let me show you the downloading process too, because some viewers want to see how to download that thing. So here you get again the 9 months of support. So remember to use whatever Linux distro you want here. So it is 3 years of support of the 22.04.3 LTS. So check or download anything you want here. So these are all the system requirements you needed. The recommended is this. this much, which is i5, which is 16 GB or 64 GB more for audio and video work. So if you are a normal user, you can just go with the 4 GB and like Intel Core 2 Duo. So if you are working with the music and audio, all these things, you need to go with the if you are working with the studio things, you need to go with this complete recommended thing, or you can just use like mine, which is i5 1240p and 4 GB of RAM, 60 GB of hard disk. So you can go with this thing too if you have anything like this. So read everything. It's on the official website. You can directly go to the official website and read everything here. You have the option of a torrent download or a direct download. You can check checksums and alternate downloads are here. Release note is here. So let me download it directly from the HTTPS. So the file size should be around 5.3 GB, as you can see in the top right side corner. It's a 5.3 GB of size because some of the apps which are audio and video things which is available for studio things, so that's the reason the file size is this much. So it's pretty okay if I have all these apps. So the file size is 5.3 GB. So let's close the browser. Let's go with the installation. So people who already are a Linux user or pro Linux user, you can just skip this part. So let me open the installer. So here is the installer available. When I mentioned in the beginning of the video, there is an installer available in the live boot too. So you don't need to worry when you choose the live boot or the direct installation path. So this is the installer which is directly on the desktop. You don't need to worry of where it will be. So you get the language selection here, which is pretty common in every Linux distro. So you don't get any new installer like the Ubuntu has, which is Ubuntu 23.10 has the new installer, but you don't get anything in any Ubuntu flavors. So it is only in Ubuntu. So you get still the older installer. So choose your language, click on continue. You need to choose your keyboard layout, keyboard variant, or you can just type it here to test your keyboard, detect your keyboard layout here. I'm choosing the English United States and the default variant, which is English United States. There are like a Hawaiian, Russian, all the other variant too. You can choose anything you want. It's clearly up to you. Click on continue after choosing your keyboard layout or the keyboard variant. You get like updates and other software. It's, in my opinion, it's a good option to check this thing, or it's my advice to check this option because it will update while installing Ubuntu Studio, which are the downloads, and install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. So this one is also be helpful. So it's clearly up to you. It's you can do that later too. If you are already a Linux user, you already know what to do. So click on continue. So it's going to prepare the Ubuntu drivers. Usually it will take like a maximum of 30 to 40 seconds in my PC, but it should be less or more in your PC. It depends on the different PCs. So in my PC, it should take like a 30 to 40 seconds. Instead of waiting for this, let's check out the desktop features or the panel features. On the taskbar, here are the date and time, notifications, status, all the things are here. Internet connection, disks and devices, volume, you can control the volume here, keyboard, so these are the things. It's still taking a few seconds here, I guess. So this is the RAM right now, which is 2.2 or 2.3 GB, and CPU is also going crazy because of installation. So the installation type is you get the two options in every Linux distro. So erase disk and install Ubuntu Studio. This option will delete the current operating system or delete the current files which is available in that installation path, whichever you choose, or the installation media. So whether you choose the hard disk or a virtual disk, it's going to erase everything. If you choose the virtual disk, you don't need to worry. If you choose the hard disk, you need to be careful what you choose here. So something else, like you need to create a partition which Ubuntu Studio will be installed alongside with the current operating system, or you can call it as like a dual boot operating system or a dual boot option. You will get Ubuntu Studio with your Linux other operating system, which is present right now in the hard disk. So you need to create that. For this video you need to check out other videos, because for this tutorial you need other video. So you need to check others channel who make the how to install dual boot. They will make a tutorial on that, so you can check other channels to get the information. Again, I want to say that one thing which is important for most of the viewers. So don't just watch my video and try to install. Try to watch like 5 to 6 videos of this version, whatever the Linux distro it is. Check about that version. Don't just go with the single video and just try to install it on your PC, because it may ruin your PC, because it's your PC, you should be responsible. So that's the reason I warn in every video. So it's your PC, you need to be very careful. So check like 5 to 6 videos, at least 3 to 4 videos of other channels. Don't check the same channel. Check like a 3 to 4 videos and go with the installation later. And always go with the live boot first, then go with the installation. Don't directly go with the installation, because there should be some bugs or errors. Even it's a stable ISO file, be careful. Even it's a stable ISO file, it should have some errors sometimes, or some bugs or something like that. So try to do all these things to save your PC. So that's the reason I always say it's your PC, you need to be very responsible for that. So even it's a boring thing, because I won't want to ruin your PC. That's the reason I say it again and again. Sorry if it's a boring. So let me close the installation, because I need to make another video. So that's the reason I'm not going to install it. So let me quit. And this was the installation process. I'm not going to say installation, I'm going to say it as an installation process, because I didn't install it on my hard disk or virtual disk. So right now let's check out the changes in the desktop and wallpapers. So I guess there is a default wallpaper, as you can see in the background. So this is the Mantic miniature wallpaper. So let me put the system monitor again back. So you get all these wallpapers, which is like a 6 wallpaper. One is from KDE Plasma and other from all the Ubuntu Studio. So you have like a Ubuntu Studio 22.04, and it is a Mantic miniature. So you get nothing here, like just a few wallpapers. So let's check the previous version wallpaper. Let's apply that. So you get a simple one, and the Mantic miniature will be with a bull. So that's the changes in the wallpaper. So we pretty much covered everything. Let me open the terminal to get some of the information, which is console. I forgot to show that in the beginning, but I will show you right now. Usually I should be showing in the beginning of the video in every Linux distro, but I forgot for some reason, because I made like a 6 videos today. So that's the reason, I'm sorry for that. So console version 23.08.1. So let me type in INXI. So it's not pre-installed. Let me copy and put it in the terminal, and let's try to install it right now. It will take like a 20 seconds maximum. We need to type Y, which is yes. It will take like a 30 seconds a maximum, or 20 seconds, and it should be installed with INXI. And this is the process to get all the information. So that's the reason I'm installing. I will give you all the information of the distro most of the time. So let's type in INXI. So if I forgot anything to show in the Linux distro, just let me know in the comment section, because it will help other viewers too. So this is the CPU already mentioned. I'm using this CPU. And the kernel already mentioned. Uptime is almost 21 minutes. It's almost 21 minutes using this Linux distro. Memory is almost 2.39. In this case, we have like a 2.4 GB. So INXI version is 3.3.29. Process running right now are 296. Storage is 60 GB. I already mentioned all these things. So let me type in INXI-b. Hit enter. So under system, it says as a host, which is Ubuntu Studio, and the kernel, which is already mentioned. It's a 64-bit, already mentioned. Desktop environment, you are getting a KDE Plasma version 5.27.8. So distro is Ubuntu 23.10 Mantic miniature, because it's a flavor of Ubuntu. So that's the reason you get the distro as Ubuntu. And under machine it says as a VMware because I'm running it on a VMware. Under CPU it says all the CPU information which I already mentioned, so no need to show that again. Under graphics you get the display X11 server Xorg version 1.21.1.7 and VMWGFX version 2.20.0.0, XVLAN version 23.2.0. So present resolution of my monitor is 1920 into 1080 with a 60 Hz. So OpenGL version 4.3, Mesa 23.2.1. So release LLVM. So this is my network information. So these are the drives, which is hard disk information. These are all the process, INXI, all the information. So let me type in INXI dash capital G. Hit enter. So here is some of the information. If you want, you can read it. So let me type in cat:/etc/issue. Hit enter. So the Ubuntu 23.10 is here after you type the cat:/etc. So let me type in the neofetch. So neofetch is also not pre-installed. We need to copy the command and paste it in the terminal. Let me paste it. It will take like a 20 seconds. These are the same seconds which will be installed. So we need to type Y for installation. So that's the duration which will be which it takes in installation of all these things, which is INXI or neofetch or htop. Htop will be pretty much installed instantly. So let me type in neofetch, which is completed now. So here is the neofetch for some of the viewers. It says as a Ubuntu and the kernel as 6.5.0 and uptime is 24 minutes. Packages 3023. You can just read it here. Shell bash version is 5.2.15. I'm not going through all these things because it will take a lengthy video. It will take a lot of time here. So that's the reason you can just pause the video and read everything. So let me type in another command, which is inxi-sv8. Hit enter. When you type this command, it will grab all the distro information. So let me show you all these things. I'm not going to read everything. I'm just going to show the important parts here. So the system information, as you can see, is completely here. You can just pause the video and read everything. The machine information, the memory, the CPU information, the vulnerabilities, the graphics information, graphics, monitor, screen, display, everything is here. So the available resolutions are here. As you can see, complete monitor and graphics information is here. You can just pause video and read everything. And here is the audio information, complete audio information. Jack version is 1.9.21 and ELSA version K6.5.0-9. You get all the information here. So this is the network information. So this is the Bluetooth information. If you have a Bluetooth, you should be getting the Bluetooth information here. Logical, RAID, drives, partition, swap, unmounted, USB, all the information is here, as you can see. Sensors, repos, process, all the information is here. You can just pause video and read everything. So the shell bash version already mentioned. Process running right now are 279. Uptime is almost 24 minutes. We've been using 24 minutes of this Linux distro. Wake ups 215. Init systemd version 253. So we covered every information. Compiler GCC version 13.2.20. So we got all the information. We just left with a htop. Let's type in that too. Htop is not pre-installed, so let's type in htop now. You need to type in sudo apt install htop to install the htop, which will be very quick in 5 seconds like that, or 10 seconds maximum. So it's finished. Htop. So some of the viewers want to see headstop, so that's the reason I showed the headstop here. So let's close the terminal. We don't need anything here. So we pretty much completed everything. So we need to test whether it's a stable distro or not. So this will be a test which I will be doing in every Linux distro, or I already did in all the previous videos too. I'll open like a 15 to 16 apps come instantly to whether to see this Linux distro will crash or not, we get any bugs or anything like that. So that's the reason I'll try to open all these things. So I want to see, I always try to see whether it handles pretty much good or not. So that's the reason. Let me open like a Darktable, digiKam, the GIMP, and Krita, and other one is like a OBS Studio. Pretty much like we open like 5 to 6 apps now. Let's open the Firefox also. So everything is working pretty much good. I hope everything will be opened properly throughout the video. So we didn't find any bugs or anything. So let's try to open like a still more like a LibreOffice or some of the important apps. So we can at least get, or we can judge it on this process. We can judge whether to use this Linux distro or not. Most of the cases you will easily get the idea whether to use this Linux distro or not. So that's the reason I will open like this, like a 10 to 12 apps, or maximum like a 15 to 16 apps, whether to see this Linux distro will work properly or not. So you can easily judge it on this test to use this Linux distro or not. So let me open most of the apps here. Let's put it on all the applications. So I don't see any lag or anything like that, so that's pretty awesome right now. Let me open the Blender also. So we pretty much opened the most resource consuming apps. So everything is going good. So let's even check the system monitor whether it's almost full or not. So it's pretty much near to full. So it's almost a 3.0 GB. Let me maximize it properly to see everything. So I don't think we should open still a lot of apps, because it's going to stop it, and it will we can't do anything about that. We need to at least restart it again, because most of my previous videos, which is BROS or the Ubuntu Unity, BROS was pretty much good, but the Ubuntu Unity was still the worst. That was pretty, almost I didn't open any of the apps. Even it's stabilized the file, but it didn't open anything. I didn't open like a lot of apps. I just opened like a 2 or 3 apps. It was completely stopped or freezed on the distro. It completely stopped. I can't make any video, so I rage quit it on that video. So if you want to check that out, the videos are available in my previous videos, so you can check it out in my channel. So I think we need to stop it here, because we pretty much opened a lot of apps here. So let's see the system monitor, because LibreOffice covered it. So it's almost like a 3.6 GB. We just have like a 200 MB left in the RAM. So I think I can say this is a stable release. The CPU is almost a 99%. So there is a bit of delay in the usage of or when you click on something, you need to wait for some time here, because almost CPU is full, the RAM is full, because we opened like most of the heavy resource consuming apps. So that's the reason. So it's pretty okay to say this Linux distro is stable, because these are GIMP and this most of the graphics consuming apps are heavy consuming. So that's the reason. They covered almost every possible RAM available. So that's the reason. So I think the screen has frozen, as you can see. I can't do anything here. So the LibreOffice version is 7.6.5.2. So this most of the apps version already is shown in the release note, so you don't need to worry about the version here. So as you can see, it is completely stopped working on my screen. I can't do anything because we opened the Blender, Darktable, digiKam, GIMP, Krita, OBS Studio, Audacity, LibreOffice, most of the heavy resource consuming apps. The memory is almost right in front of you, as you can see. So but it is stopped, so that's the reason. It's almost completely filled with the RAM and CPU, but somehow working slowly. So it will take a lot of time to close these things. I rather end the video here because we pretty much covered everything. So in my case, I'm going to give you my opinion. If you open like a most heavy resource consuming apps when you have 4 GB of RAM, so you don't need to open all these things. When you're using this Linux distro, just use like a 4 or 5 apps open maximum. Don't open all the apps like I opened. This pretty much a big mistake you are doing here. So when you open like a Blender and a GIMP, Krita, that's enough. You don't need to open all the apps at once. In order to do that, you just need to close another app because it's going to freeze completely, and it will be a heavy consuming app, or you need to restart the PC, or you need to shut it down the PC. So that's the reason. If you are on live boot and you need to, if you are on live boot, if you are doing any work, it will completely erase everything because it's a live boot. If you install, you can restart like that. The work will be still in a progress. So that's the difference in a live boot and the installation. So if you are on live boot, it's going to erase everything as soon as you restart. So be careful while doing or working with the live boot. So you need to know what a live boot does and live boot works. So I think that's the end of the video, I guess, because we covered everything. So while I was using the this Linux distro before opening all these apps, it was pretty much stable and working pretty much flawlessly. So if you want to test it, you can test it. So if you ask me whether to use this Linux distro or not, so it's clearly up to you. I'm not going to say any Linux distro should do, you should do use it, because it will be different for you and it will be different for me, because we have different PCs, so we should be having different experience. So if you have a 2 GB of RAM, it shouldn't work properly for you. If I have a like a 4 GB of RAM, so this is my test, or this is my result in front of you. So if you have a heavy or a high-end PC, you should be going good with everything. Even if you open like a bunch of apps, big heavy resource consuming app, you should be good. Like a recommended is like a low end PC, but you need to have like a more RAM to do all this work. They already mentioned in the system requirements, so you need to have all that resources to get completely use of this Linux distro. So it's clearly up to you to judge it on your own. So I don't say, if you have a low end PC, I don't recommend this Linux distro, because if you have like a 2 GB of RAM and a low end PC, so it will be a bit of problem for you. You can use it on a live boot and you can open like a 1 or 2 app maximum, because in 4 GB of RAM I can't open this many of apps. So that's the reason I'm saying that. So again, it's clearly up to you to use it or not. It's clearly up to you judge to use it or not. So I already made another video of Ubuntu Kylin. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out, because I'll be posting 2 videos daily. So I think I should end this video here, because still the apps are opening and I can't use the monitor or the mouse cursor anywhere here. So I'm going to end this video. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.